Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we would be discussing about career growth in call centers, the growth opportunity that you have in call centers and BPOs. If you already haven't watched my previous video, it was about good call centers and bad call centers. How do you judge which call center to join, and how do you form your own opinion about it? So if you haven't watched the video already, you would find the link here somewhere in the video, or you can check the description down below. You would find the video link there. So first you can go ahead and watch that video and then come back to this video so that you can get a firm knowledge of how it works in BPOs. Now coming to career growth opportunities, or what would be your future like in a call center, I would be it's quite debatable, to be very honest with you, because I have worked with 3 to 4 call centers previously. I have quite some experience now. So I have seen people working as agents for several years, 5 to 6 years. There were agents who were working in the same process for 8 to 9 years as well, as a process associate, as a inbound customer service executive or chat support executive, because they had made that position as their comfort zone, and they never tried for IGPs or interviews, or they do not want to go ahead. So they had formed their own comfort zone, or at some point of time they were actively seeking for promotions, which is why they applied for IGPs, they applied for several other exams, or they appeared for interviews, and they might have not got selected, so they just gave up. They are just doing their job. However, there are people who keep switching from company to company, increase their pay just as an associate, and that also happens in team lead level, in quality analysts level, in as a trainer as well. So they also keep jumping from job to job just to get a boost in their salary. People may end up with disagreements with the management, so they tend to switch jobs even for lesser pay as well. So when we come down to growth can be basically defined as someone who becomes eligible to go ahead and move on to the next level. If you are working as a process associate, then the next level for you would either be a team lead, which is an operations based role, a quality analyst, which is again an operations as well as training based role, and then we have training team, which are only trainers who train people who are not performing well, or they train new hires. So this entire thing is an ecosystem. Moving ahead, above that would be senior team leaders, group team leaders. People above that would be assistant managers, and then above them would be managers. Above them would be SDLs, service delivery leaders, and then above them would be senior service delivery leaders. Again, it goes on, like vice president, senior vice president, or site lead, senior site lead, and then vice president, senior vice president, and then comes the CEO maybe. So this is how basically it works. And people who are VPs, or let's say senior vice presidents, they have a huge career span. They started somewhere back in 1998 or 1999 in the same company, and they made their way through becoming a VP. They have like 20-25 years of work experience. So this is a vast work experience. There are people who started as agents, like advisors, for a year, and then they became team leads, and they have been team leads for probably like for the past 10 years or 12 years maybe. There were people who started as advisors, who became quality analysts in a year or two, then senior quality analysts in a year, then quality analyst, team lead, assistant managers, so on, within a span of 10 to 12 years. So it's you cannot gauge how soon you can be promoted. Promotions are not, in some companies they are based on seniority, In some companies it is based on your own skills. Basically they would have IJPs, internal job postings, and then there would be you and your colleagues competing for the same position. Like let's say there is a position for team lead, and you yourself have a team of 20 to 30 guys or people, and out of that particular team there would be 3 including you who would be applying for the same position. So again there would be different teams, and there would be people applying from those teams as well for the same position. So it becomes very competitive. Only the people who are outspoken, who can think out of the box, who are relatively very smart, who can handle a situation very calmly and smartly, only those people who would get promoted. People who are not that active, they do not have that very active aura around them, or let's say if they say no for an answer, so let's say the interviewer asks them some questions, in an IGP you are supposed to tell at least something, and in there if you say no, then that's a very big no for them as well. So people it's very competitive process in an IGP. And when as compared to there are only very few companies who would promote you based on your seniority. If you are a very tenured if you are a very tenured associate, if you are a very good associate, or a very you have very good performance, not essentially you would be a very good trainer, not essentially you would be a very good quality analyst, not essentially you would be a very good team leader. So that is gauged by this IGP rounds, where multiple rounds happen and multiple people take your rounds and they gauge your quality. So that's based on their experience. They keep doing this day in and day out, many times in a year. So that's how it works. Once people who get promoted, they become very happy. Those who do not get promoted, they tend to come out and say that ये तो चाट के इसको promotion मिल गई है, अंदर से setting हुई है. That's the story of all call centers. That's the story of all BPOs. ठीक है, चाट के कितना ही बंदा आगे जाएगा, ऐसे promotion नहीं मिलती है. Anyways, so that is how it is. That is how a promotion works. And again, if someone became a vice president or a senior vice president in a span of 10 years, it may not be 10 years for you, it may be 20 years for you, or even 25 years for you. So again, growth and salary hikes, you cannot compare yourself with others, because everyone has to follow their own journey. Everyone has their own path to follow. So you cannot be comparing yourself with someone who just joined with you, who is getting promoted before you. So it's not like that. There is no reason to be jealous. He has come with his own with his own way of doing things. You have your own way of doing things. Maybe he got promoted today and he would get stuck at that same position for the next 5 or 10 years, whereas you may get the first promotion in the next few years and spear ahead in the leadership chain and find yourself in an assistant manager or manager position in the next probably 10 years. So it totally depends. Coming down to hike and growth, there are call centers. If you have been a subscriber on my channel, then if you have seen my previous videos, hikes and growth is what we have already discussed. However, hike are based on several parameters that differ from companies to companies. Yearly bonuses are also depends from company to company. The company where I work, they give a yearly bonus, but maybe where you are working, they may not give it. So again, that's pretty much it. That's how the entire career in a BPO would be. Again, you would have to make a habit of 24/7 shifts. It's better if you have a certain designated shift, like only night shifts or only graveyard shifts or only early morning shifts, then it's better. But if it is continuously rotating every month or every week or every 2 weeks, then it becomes very difficult to work in a call center. So choose a job where your no matter if your shifts are rotational, then they should at least give you time to rotate the shifts. For example, I was working in a company where they had 24/7 shifts. So for example, the first month I got a shift from 10 a.m. to probably 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. and the next month it stayed the same, and then on the third month the shift started at around noon. It starts that I was rostered at around noon. So yeah, if it is in such a way, if it moves clockwise, like 2 months in the same shift and then again a gap of 2 hours and then again a gap of 2 hours in 2 months, so 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 9, eventually if that is done throughout the year, then you can manage it. But it's not like if you are doing night shifts right now and they suddenly move you to day shift for a month and then again in night shift for a month, your body would not be able to handle that. You would get issues, not immediately, but eventually you would start developing issues like blood pressure, cardiac diseases, diabetes, indigestion. So and some of the people also are insomniacs, so they have sleepless nights or days. So those are certain kind of things that you would start developing. I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just trying to explain you how things are, so that you would get a real you would get a real knowledge of how things are about to be. Now if you are someone who wants to make your career in BPOs, then this is how it is. Eventually, if you are starting at 21, I can assure you, if you are very smart, very talented, then you would find at least yourself in a position of team leader or beyond that in the next 5 to 7 years, and let alone 10 years. You can be somewhere. You can either remain as a process associate if you have not explored enough, or you can find yourself as an assistant manager or a manager in 10 to 15 years as well. So it totally depends. There would be challenges where you would get married. If your wife or if your would-be wife is not working, then let alone your salary would not be sufficient, because IT people tend to get lakhs of rupees, like 10, 15, 20, 25. It's not the same for BPO employees. They are restricted at 35, 65, 70 or 80k at max. If you become a VP or something, maybe you would be getting 2 to 2.5 lakhs, but up to manager you might end up getting 65,000 to a lakh, depends. So again, you would eventually get married. You have to cope up with the night shift while you are being married. You have to take care of your kids as well. You have to eventually buy a place for yourself, a home, or you would have to buy a car for yourself. You have to buy a bike for yourself and for your wife. So if your wife is not working, try to involve them in some kind of business that would generate some additional source of income for you. If that is also not possible, then you can start YouTubing like me because that is an awesome source of income as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I have been talking continuously for 15 minutes. It might sound boring to you guys, so let's meet up on the next video where we would be discussing about challenges, basically starting a home, starting a family and buying a home, buying a car. What kind of challenges I faced and what kind of challenges you are about to face and how to avoid them. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would request you to go ahead and subscribe it, because 95% of the viewers only take advantage of my videos without subscribing me. If you're not subscribing me, I'm not getting anything. So share your love by subscribing it. Share it with your friends and family members if you want. I am never going to make videos in Hindi, to be very honest with you. There are many people who are watching these videos, not just from India but from other countries as well. There are too many South Indian folks, then there are too many Northeast Indian folks watching this video channel, and Hindi is not their primary language. Hindi, which is why I would not prefer speaking in Hindi, though मुझे हिंदी पूरी आती है. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. See you in the next video. Bye bye.